Torild Ljunggren from the Swedish Inventor Association South. Welcome, Torild.
Well, hi everybody. A couple of years ago, I spoke to a representative of a business institution, and when I had presented myself then, the chairman of an inventors association, he said, "Oh, there are such associations. I thought that the inventors kept to themselves." And so they do to a certain extent. But when they need help, they come in many times to us. I will come back to this subject a little later, but first, who are we? My name is Torild Ljunggren, and I represent today here the Swedish Inventors Association South, where South stands for the southern part of the Skåne region. And we have here today also 3 members of our board. The present chairman, Agora, a member of Buildings Proveris, somewhere there, sitting there, and Tongian Shen, sitting where? Yes, there, Tongian, yes, welcome. Earlier we had our name was Malmö Inventors Association, Malmö Uppfinnarförening, founded in 1985. There was earlier also Inventors Association here in Lund, but it closed down along the millennium shift, and its members were recommended to join the Malmö Inventors Association. We are also members of a national association called the Swedish Inventors Association, situated in Stockholm. It was founded back as long as in 1886, and is the oldest inventors association in the world. Yes, and we have a member from our board who sits in the national board too. His name is Anders Hilmersson, and also we have also another member as a substitute, Senka Okulum. Well, and I was chairman for Malmö Inventors Association between 2006 and 2015 for 9 years, and I'm now in the electors committee. So, what benefits are there for members? Well, most of them who come to us do it for the need of counseling when they have made an invention, and when they have been members, they can we can help them in different ways. Call it private counseling, or in a small group together with some experienced inventors, or they can take up the ideas at the member meeting when the invention is in an early stage and they want to know if they are on the right or wrong path. And every member at the meeting, just like here, can give them feedback. And all this happens under secrecy. You sign something like an NDA. Well, then we can also arrange lectures, either from internal sources. So, for instance, we had a lecture about artificial intelligence and machine learning by a member, Carl von Platen. There is a film on YouTube about this. And so we can also have a lecture from external sources, for instance, from a patent office, talking about patents and other intellectual property rights. So we can make visits to business companies and institutions. So for instance, when it became more common in the society with 3-day writers, we made a visit to Ingvar Kamprad Design Center over here, and one of our members said when he saw the big 3-day writers in action, when I want a prototype made, it can take months before I get it as I want it. And here you can get it written out overnight. That's to say, if you know how to program them, you know anybody else can do it. Therefore, we also have lessons, education at our program. For instance, programming for 3D writers. Maybe I could show you this also. Point 2, what benefits are there for members? Then we can also have creativity exercises at meetings as part of a meeting. For instance, brainstorming or inventing in group, just for creativity. But sometimes we also have done it for external parties. So for instance, we took part in this Win-Win Malmö about 2015, I think, where business companies and voluntary organizations met on the floor at the Malmö Town Hall and formed partnerships. And we got a partnership with the company. They came to us and held a lecture about from idea to market, and we had a brainstorming over a problem they had with them. And this without money. That's for Bono. Yes. And then we have, of course, mingle also at our parties or meetings. We call it upgrade and mingle. So that after 10 minutes, there's a whistle, a signal, so you can change to speaking partner if you want to maximize your contacts during your mingle. All these things together make up a community, like Ideon is for you, and all these things together. And it can also play a social role for inventors, not to be underestimated, because many inventors are often for themselves in cellars or garages working with their inventions, and they have no one to talk about between meetings. And so the meetings become somehow a free zone where they meet other persons who deal their interests. And besides all this, we can take part in exhibitions. So back in some years ago now, 2013, we were here at Ideon, just at that corner over there, and we took part. And there was an industrial designer standing on the other side of the corridor, and we began to talk, and it resulted in he later came to one of our monthly meetings and held a lecture about industrial design. So it was a fine byproduct from that taking part. And so we had an own exhibition back in 2012 at a place called, in English, The Power in Lomma. And I'm going to show you some pictures from that event. That was for the inauguration of the exhibition. A technical paper, the inventor and constructor, Swedish Uppfinnaren och Konstruktören, wrote about this, that the inventors are a power in Skåne. And here is the inauguration speaker, Roland Palmqvist, who was then member of the Regional Skåne Regional Growth Committee, and he was also mayor of Scheelevägen municipality. I'm now going to show you some inventions that were on that exhibition to show what our members are up to. Just a few examples. There were about 50 different inventions in different stages of development. And here's a few ones, as you can read the text there. I can say that one was new at the time. Here's one more technical thing. No one is spare engine, energy, electricity, maybe something to help again. And this was the first electronic peephole in the world at that time, according to the inventor. And this one. That's me. And this is a new one, fairly new on the market this very summer, but it had been under development for more than 5 years. There are films on YouTube showing how it works. And this has been around for some years. And this and this too. And this is also fairly new from this year. And the reason is if you can get in a finger needle under the cooktop, the bacteria can go the same way. That's why you can have such a O-ring sealing. And here we have seed vitalization from Ljunggren. Apology for the quality of the pictures, but it's as good as I could have it. And I have to say something about this one. Ljunggren has given me a text in English, so I'll get it right. Seed revitalization is an environmentally friendly seed treatment technique that improves the biological properties of seeds. It can significantly increase yield on the same cultivation area with less cultivation costs, and it can improve the environment by decreasing use of plant protection chemicals. And last but not least, if I may say so, I quote, seed revitalization contributes to solving food shortage. Yes. And the last one here, if you can lay together one on one and get 3 out of this. Here's my text here. There was a big, it was not there, no. There was a big infrastructure project going on in the part of western Skåne, the construction of a tunnel through the Hallandsåsen Ridge. And at the same time, one of our members was experimenting with cleaning poisonous water at the experimental workshop that our association had access to at that time. So the builders of the tunnel got into trouble because there had come water leakage into the tunnel, and they had seeded with that stuff to the right called Råkachill. You've heard of it, maybe. And when they realized the vegetation on the ridge began to wither and animals got sick, when they realized that the reason for this was this stuff, Råkachill, they immediately stopped the building of the tunnel, and it stood still for months. They didn't know how to get further. And if you think that this tunnel project was a link into a much bigger project that you in the future can go by train from Oslo via Sweden to Denmark and then further to Germany, so a new tunnel, and then to Hamburg, you will realize what importance it had. But they somehow got to know that there was an inventor in Malmö who was dealing with this to cleaning, because managed to get in contact with him. And to make a very long story short, I can say today, you and I, we can all go by train through the 8-kilometer long tunnel through the Hallandsåsen Reach, more or less thanks to a member of our association. And that's not a bad thing, I think. Well, go back to the yes. Some other projects we have been engaged in. Well, schools. We have a school program. So from time to time we get inquiries from schools if we can come and talk about inventions. And when we have the possibility, we do so. So for instance, I went to an elementary school here in Lund, and I wanted to show them an invention that was made in Lund. So I took a piece of paper, I can take this one, and see if I manage to do it today. It's to make an invention. I'll show it to you here. And I pinched with 2 fingers like this and 2 fingers like that. And I showed it to the school children and asked them if they could see what it looked like. And one little girl raised her hand and said, I know what it is. It is what you get cream in when you go by train. What she saw was something that resembled the Tetra Mini from Tetra Pak. I think that was a clever girl. You can do it all at home. Yes. We have also had a school project with a technical school in Malmö, Pauliskolan. The idea for this came from one of our members who had been a teacher. And her grandfather had been an inventor. And we had a scholarship program, and we had a very talented member who is very good at talking about inventions. He held lectures for the students there. And then we had a collaboration with Malmö Technical Museum, where members from our society, our association, volunteer as instructors for young children who come there to build and program Lego robots. A very popular program, and it has started now again after the pandemic. And this leads me to the end part here about some words about the future. We are awaiting the opening of the Wisdom Theatre at the Technical Museum end of this year or the beginning of next, partly for this children's project to see if it can be incorporated, and partly for our members if they can use it for visualization of their ideas. That would be very, very interesting to see. So we will surely make a visit to that site. There will be also a theatre and lecture rooms, etc., etc. And then I think that we will meet, as I met these examples of cooperation with other institutions. I should like to say that we should be very interested to make closer contact with Ideon, and maybe someone from you could come to one of our member meetings and present. Maybe that could be a ticket to the future to some of our members who, when they will go further and develop their ideas. We had in fact had one member back in 2010 who had won prize Adventure Cup, and he got a 6 months possibility to develop his ideas here at Ideon. So that would be very nice if we could develop this. And I see you have something called free ink here. It may be a link between you and us. Well, I think I have come to the end of my presentation, and if there are any questions, I'd like to see if I can answer them. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for having us here.